Because Pharma said so.
Well, that's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, launch planning is not a marketing exercise, right? So it's not even a commercial exercise. This is actually a way broader kind of exercise, because the commercialization of that product is more or less towards the end of the launch planning cycle, right? So it starts with a lot of preparations of, and we all know this, right? So this is no news, and I did not invent that concept, but shape the market, shape the company, shape the product, kind of, these are the three big buckets. So you need to have enough supply, you need to have your guidelines set, and so there's so many things, and they're not all commercial. Commercial is a smaller part of it. Yes, it's always a bit funny when we talk about launch excellence with clients, because the concept of launch excellence is pretty well established, right? So there's almost, I don't recall any pharmaceutical company that does not have a launch excellence kind of department or sub-department in the commercial excellence team. So that is all set, and how to do a launch roadmap is relatively straightforward. How to do a country prioritization, launch sequence prioritization is also relatively straightforward. This is not rocket science. The big issue with launches, and then again, 75%, I've read the same market research, but the question then is, how do you define a failed launch, right? So I think, did they provide the estimated forecasts? Yes or no? Maybe that's the trigger of, is it failed or not failed? However, when it fails or when it doesn't perform as you think it performs, most times it is very much the thought process is a global one, whereas no product gets ever launched in global. It always gets launched in a country, right? So there's always the country that needs to execute it. So your launch plan needs to take this into consideration. It doesn't mean that you need to have all the edge cases in your global launch plan, because that's going to be a massive task. But I think what needs to be done for a successful launch is, yes, if global creates a roadmap or a template, an archetype of launch to help the countries, then the execution within the country needs to be supported, right? So that conversation, that's, by the way, not a launch excellence problem. This is a challenge that we see in a lot of departments. The global to local kind of connection and communication is always a challenge. And it's not because global is bad or local is bad or whatever. It is just because there are so many different players, and they're not always in the same opinion. But global hasn't done its job by just creating a global launch plan and send it to the countries. Right, so the countries really need to make this execution, and it's executed in the country. And sending an Excel file out and say, country X, please execute, good luck with it, see you next year, is just not doing the deal, right? So what you need to do is a constant monitoring. And when I say monitoring, it doesn't mean I need to observe whether they do a good job or not. It's not of control. It is more from, and I've been in this role, right? I've been a global guy for many years. It is, how can I as a global team can add value and can support the local team by doing a great launch. It's not about controlling whether you do your job or not. It's more about, there are obstacles in countries that are really tough for a country to solve, but global has the power, the resources, the knowledge, the connections, the network to help the countries to overcome them. And I think this is the key bit.